Best of r/malicious compliance episode 98. Subscribe for edit videos daily. Obligatory not my story. This is from a retired ranger friend of mine. When my friend was a young ranger, he was stationed at the Special Operations Command Headquarters, HQ, at Fort Bragg. One of his good ranger friends was an early 20s private first class, PFC. Due to the specialized work that goes on at HQ, from time to time the building is locked down and only certain personnel are allowed inside the building at this time. When this happens, guard is posted outside to ensure that only those personnel are allowed in. On one particular day, the PFC was posted as security. Everything was going okay until a curious 2-star general not affiliated with the command started walking towards him. The PFC asked him for his ID, but the 2-star just told the young privates to get out of his way. The PFC then did his job. He physically puts the 2-star on the ground, weapon drawn, and ordered him not to move. The 2-star continues yelling at the PFC and eventually the PFC's commander comes out. The commander is a colonel. If you're not familiar with military rank, a colonel is a very high-ranking commissioned officer but still 2 full grades below the 2-star general, a very significant difference. The colonel is not having any of this and tells the 2-star that he works directly for the 4-star and that he needs to get out of here immediately, an order which he follows. Eventually the 2-star gives a full apology to the command. Apparently he was curious about the activity going on around there and he wanted to find out what was happening. My friend told me that his ranger buddy was really shook up by the experience. He felt much better after a lot of praise from his superiors and a big commendation. I can't remember the specifics, for his actions. Edit. This got a little more traction than I expected. Good way to pass the time as essential personnel to all you troops working security, and non-MPs detailed to security work, out there regardless of service. Hope you stay safe and covered free. Thank you. Next. So this happened today. Me and my classmates/friends were discussing about school, homework, classes, etc. When one of my classmates joined the chat messenger. Let's call him A. Was the kind of guy who would make jokes about anything, including you, and then be cool later. I asked a girl in my class if I can copy her homework and A said OP go play Minecraft. He knew I played Minecraft. And that is where I got an idea. Cue malicious compliance. I muted the chat for 15 minutes, opened Minecraft, created a new world, creative and flat, and made a large $%UA out of coarse dirt. I then took a screenshot and then I unmuted the chat. The girl in class shared her homework with everyone. I thanked her and then I asked, did you play Minecraft? I said I did and I made something special. I then shared the screenshot and then everyone laughed with lots of ha-ha-has in the chat. I didn't type anything after that. 5 minutes well spent. Thank you. Next. User u/Cassiope wrote about their VoIP issues working out for them. So I thought I'd share my gas story. TLDR. Gas company didn't listen to me. Got 9 months free natural gas. This happened about 6 years ago when I moved in with my partner at the time. Our realtor managing the property gave us the form and we filled it in. There was a section that asked about us requesting all utilities being connected on our behalf. Gas, power, phone, internet. I ticked the no box because I wanted to choose my own suppliers. We moved in. Power was on. Gas was on. No internet yet, but that would take days or weeks. But I then realized I never called the gas and power company. Shit, I forgot. Though when I rang them and gave them my details, they said it's all confirmed and connected already. What a coincidence that the utilities the realtor connected us with was the same company I was going to sign up with. 9 months goes by. One day I come home and there's no gas. Power is fine. I call the company, you haven't paid your bills. Now, let me rewind for a moment. Ever since moving in, they never sent us a bill. I requested to receive them via email. Never got one. I checked my spam. But each quarter, our utilities get billed quarterly. I'd get a bill in my letterbox addressed to the previous tenant. I'd mark the envelope RTS. No such name, and each quarter I would ring the gas company to tell them got another bill addressed to previous tenant. They'd respond with "Oh, okay, let's fix that." Anyway, back to the present day of the story. I'm on the phone trying to explain the gas disconnection issue. explaining that we haven't paid our bill because we never got one, and so on. They look at my account and then ask me to confirm my name. Once again, the previous tenant's name appears. I explained to them that I've sent every bill back to them, and called each time to resolve this. They deny it all. Never heard from me, no records. So I ask them, is the gas disconnected now? They say yes. I say great. I'd like my gas at this address to be connected under a new customer name please because it appears to still be under the previous tenant. They tell me I can't do that. They tell me I'm the previous tenant. So I ask them to confirm my identification. I give them my name. They have zero info about me. I tell them I'm hanging up now. You can call me on the number in your system for this account to confirm things. But go easy on the person who answers, because they haven't lived here in 9 months. I hang up. Ring back immediately. Talk to sales. Sign up a new account. Gas connected the following day. Got 9 months free gas because no one at the gas company would listen to me. Thank you. Next. Just a quick one for you all. In my freshman year of high school, I am not from the US, so I try translating this post into American English. We had a chemistry teacher called Mr. Beasting, not his real name, based on a pun. Now, Mr. Beasting is a real nice guy, or so I thought. One day we were all assigned a topic to make an essay on. I had to choose between boron, aluminum, and gallium. I took gallium. One thing you need to know about me is that I am not a very good student, but I like science. So when Mr. Beasting wanted us to make this project, I, of course, was quite thrilled. So as soon as I had gotten home I immediately started work on my magnum opus. It took about 12 hours total for a 3-page essay, but when I had finished, I was thrilled. I even had a teacher look over my essay and he absolutely loved it, so I was sure I'd get an A, but blew it. No, Mr. Beasting has given me a C, which admittedly is not too bad, but his reasoning freaked me out. He said, and I quote, translated, "Well dear, you wrote too many sources in the essay, just so you could impress me. Now that doesn't work with me. Your attempt in manipulating me has impacted your rating. Think about what you have done. I expect better from you. I like using 6 sources, which I clearly needed to cover all the thrilling parts of gallium extraction in China, but he wouldn't have any of it. Instead of being angry, I complied, and when we had to write a report on urban mining I used no sources in the process since he had written don't use sources with a red, shiny pen on my last essay. Expectedly I got a D and he said, you know, you should have used sources. Why didn't you learn that by now? This school is not a kindergarten. I had been quiet for the rest of class with a smug smile in my face, and as soon as school was over I rushed to the headmaster's office, having brought both essays with me and explaining myself. Needless to say, the teacher never gave me a worse grade for using too many sources again. Thanks for reading. Thank you. Next. My ex and I went bankrupt due to him not paying bills and his company going under. Joined names unfortunately as I was working and he needed my name to buy the business. It sucks, but that's a whole other story. I have always paid my bills for every utility, so when all this went down in January this year, all other contracts, including a salary sacrificed car, just continued on. In December I smashed my phone screen. The repair cost was about $800, so I used my insurance that I had been paying as part of my phone plan to replace it with a brand new iPhone 11 Pro. $50 per month for the service and $75 per month for the phone. I got a call in early March from the telco insolvency team telling me I can't have a contract with them due to bankruptcy. They said they want to change my phone to a prepaid account. They also said cannot have a home internet and landline account with them anymore, which freaked me out. No Wi-Fi and kids at home. I checked it out with the bankruptcy trustee and they said legally it's not a problem, but if the company policy states as such they can do it. I also spoke with the telecommunications ombudsman and they told me I could fight it if I wanted to, as I am still under contract. I had a big argument with the telco on the phone again, trying to explain that my bills were always paid early and that it is in their best interest to let me continue to pay out the contracts as their fees were on top of the purchase of their phone and modem. No go. She did not want to hear a bar of it. I shopped around and found a new internet provider and landline needed for homeschooling at the moment, and then let the telco swap me off my plan to prepaid. I then ported my prepaid phone number over to new internet company. I have had the same number since my first phone and didn't want to change it. Then the telco sent me a bill to pay out the iPhone and the modem. Final bill was $2,300. Which I promptly replied with the bankruptcy number and trustee details and included the passage from legislation that says they cannot contact me about it again. The best part is my new company uses the old company's satellite, so my coverage is still excellent. It also uses another company's as well, so it is now actually better. Stupid Australian telco that is the biggest in the country that are too dumb to just let me pay what I owe as agreed. Thank you. Next. Last month, I cancelled my business VoIP after 7 months of only having 25-50% of the services I'd been paying for. I kept calling tech support. Depending on which service, they'd get one of the issues fixed for about a week before it went down again. The other issue they never got fixed. Midway through I asked for and got one partial refund for a month, but I didn't have the time to keep up with it on a regular basis. When I put in the cancellation request, I had 2 months left on my contract. I asked that they waive the cancellation fee / paying out of the last 2 months of the contract due to the service issues. This was about $142. I figured it was simpler and less expensive for them than asking to calculate out a refund for the other months of no service. My request was ignored and I got an email about the cancellation. So, I sent another email, asking for the waiver. It was declined. No explanation. I popped over a third email, saying if they didn't want to write off the end of the contract, then perhaps they'd be willing to give a refund for the % of services I had not received. I calculated this out to be about $158, and asked for a refund of $16. It was declined again, and I was told I could call billing to request a refund, which I did. I figured I'd negotiate for the $158 refund. I was told they couldn't do refunds back for that many months. They could only do 3 months. I rolled my eyes and said fine. I was given a full 3 months refund. $217. So, I, and they, spent a lot more time and they gave me $75 more than I'd been willing to accept. Thank you. Next. This happened about 4 years or so ago. I used to work as a cook at a dine-in restaurant of a truck stop. The lack of leadership by the restaurant management bred an atmosphere of being able to get away with just about anything among the employees, including how we interacted with the customers. My co-workers quickly learned I preferred to work than gossip, and they even more quickly regretted the rare time or two they would try to get me involved in some drama. As most of them didn't like my sarcastic wit, they would let me be. I pretty much was back in the kitchen most of the time, and didn't have to usually deal with our guests, but would be out front from time to time, usually on my way to often the restroom, and did get to know many of our regulars. There were all kinds of truck drivers. The ones who were cool and fun to talk with, the flirts, the politically opinionated, every once in a while an occasional creep who had to be dealt with. All walks of life of drivers graced our establishment, and for the most part, no problems. Then there would be the drivers who, no matter what you did, were just outright jerks, rude to the staff, complaining about everything. And I mean everything. The weather, the repair shop, the music playing on the intercom, the showers, the price of diesel, the cost of items in the store, which was a separate department from the restaurant, the truck parking. All things that we had absolutely no control over. And hey guys, we're just here to serve you food, okay? Yeah, it would get a little tedious listening to the whiners, so whenever I happened to spot a few habitual verbal offenders sitting out front, I would take the back way around to the ladies' room. Like I said, I don't care for gossip or drama, so I'm working the grill line. It's a somewhat slow afternoon, being middle of the week. The front counter is about half full with drivers sitting around chatting and eating when one of our regular jerks comes in. Now this particular regular jerk was a special breed. The kind I refer to as not happy unless they are watching the world burn. This guy took being a jerk to the next level. Never wanted to socialize with the other drivers. Never tipped the servers. Always got his food to go. Yes, he would every single time open the container to inspect his order, grumble, and make a snide comment. Would get the same thing every time, a club sandwich with fries, and for whatever reason, he would stick his head around the corner of the server line to see who was cooking before ordering. even though he would get the same thing every single time. Out of the corner of my eye, I see this driver peeking at me for a moment before he disappears from sight. Knowing what is coming, I go ahead and start the order. Now the club sandwich we made was of the triple-decker variety. 3 slices of bread, ham, turkey, bacon, mayo, lettuce, tomato, and cheese, which upon assembly was held together with frill picks, very long toothpicks with colored plastic frills on one end, and cut into quarters. Sure enough, the ticket pops up on my printer a couple of minutes later. As I had gotten a head start, the sandwich is already laid out on my cutting board, and I'm waiting on the bacon and fries to finish cooking. I set up the to-go box and reach for the pan with the frill picks, only to discover that there are none. No surprise, honestly. The other cooks aren't exactly known for keeping up with the line stocking, so I go over to the storage room to get some. We are out, completely. There isn't one single frill pick in the place. Oh shit goes through my mind. Walking back to the line, I quickly brainstorm what to do. Realize that, if I'm careful, I can cut the assembled sandwich and lay it in the box with the fries in such a way that it will not fall apart. Pleased with myself and my idea, I finish putting the order together and place the closed container in the pass-through window for the server to bag up. As I have no other orders at the moment, I decide to text my general manager, who is scheduled in later in the day, about the frill pick situation and to ask if he can stop and pick some up on his way in. Before I can hit send, I hear a bellow from down the server line. What the hell is this? Immediately on alert, I step around to the server line to see Mr. World-class jerk glaring at me. He repeats his question, so I ask, what's the problem? Why are there no frill picks in my sandwich? He demands to know. My reply is matter of fact. Because we're currently out. Why not? Can't you order right? Why can't you do your damn job? Crossing my arms, I quirk an eyebrow and flatly reply that it's my general manager who does our ordering, not me. That I wasn't even aware we were out of frill picks until just now. The server is standing nervously off to the side. She's waiting to see what goes down. Mr. World-class jerk inhales, sputters a little, then spits out, well, I can't eat this like it is without the frill picks to hold it together. Not while I'm driving. He thrusts the box into the server's hands. I want each sandwich section wrapped so it doesn't fall apart. Then, muttering under his breath, he steps back out front as the server scurries towards me. She hands me the box. I turn, walk past the grill line into the back kitchen and to the prep table, setting the box down next to the dispenser. Open the lid. You want your sandwich wrapped? You got it. Each individual section, carefully, lovingly wrapped in a 4-foot-long sheet of 18-inch wide food service grade saran wrap. Placing the sandwich back into its box, I walked back up to the server line and handed it off to my coworker. She takes it out front. I see her hand it to this jerk, who proceeds to open the lid. He must have been satisfied because he closed the container and exited the restaurant. Walking back onto the grill line, I finish sending my text to my boss, and wonder how long it will be before the fallout from my malicious compliance hits. It never did. I don't know if he ever called to complain to my boss. I certainly didn't hear about it, though we never saw that driver come into the restaurant again.